Welcome to Uncopyable Women in Business. I'm Kay Miller, also known as Muffler Mama. I've been the #1 salesperson in a male-dominated industry, a successful entrepreneur for over 30 years, and now my mission is to help you build a business and brand nobody else can compete with. If you're ready to break out of the pack and create your own uncopyable advantage, stay tuned. My guests and I are here to help.
I love it.
Hey, today I'm joined by Sarah Vezensek, and she is an online business mentor and freedom-based business coach who helps women turn what they already know into scalable, profitable businesses. Sarah, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to connect both with you and your audience.
This is fun for me, extra fun because I'm in Seattle, Washington. You're in Slovenia. I tried to say the city and I don't think I quite got it right, but it's 6 o'clock where you are, PM dinner. It's morning here. But we've had fun chatting a little bit about your very unique background, which in some ways you call a prison, but there's a, wink, wink in there, and you're going to tell us about that. But you found yourself wanting more freedom, fulfillment, more options. So you made a big change. So why don't you just jump in and tell us about your background?
Yeah, I think I had a life that most people would kill for on paper or would dream about. And where I used to be the youngest owner's representative of a beautiful super yacht. I got to travel around the world, fly on jets, and hang out with the 1% that just seems like a life out of the movie. But the reason I call it golden handcuffs or, a prison is because when you're in that type of world, you live on other people's schedules. So yes, you have money. I was 23 when I started, and, I got more money than a 23-year-old could ever dream of, especially from Slovenia. And it was fun. But then I realized that working and being attached to my phone every single day, 18-hour days, no weekends, no holidays, is no way to live once you're approaching 30. You might want to have a partner. You might want to settle down, stuff like that. And my wheels started spinning. I understood that it's time for a change. I need to switch something up because I can't be dependent on someone and then they can just discard me at any time. And it's not my life that is fancy. It's because of their life. So that was where I used to be, and then had to exit.
But that's kind of an epiphany that even if you have all this great stuff, like you said, lifestyle, if you really don't have the freedom to make your own choices over your time and decisions, that's not great. Especially, like you said, if you want a relationship or friends, family, social life, and you said get 30s, which sounds like a baby to me. But yeah, I remember that stage of life. You want to kind of start thinking about maybe settling down. So anyway, what did you do then at that point when you realized that?
I'm really I would say smart in that way that a lot of people maybe don't think this way, is when you are unhappy with something, normally what I see people do is they just kind of wait until it's unbearable. The first moment that I am unhappy with something, I start working on my plan B. So when this plan A is going to go out of the window, I already have a plan B that I just can replace it with. So the jump, whatever the disruption in your life is not as big because you already know where you're going. So I was sitting down and I really wanted my freedom. As you said, I had the money, I had the bougie lifestyle, but I couldn't do anything with it because I couldn't leave, I couldn't go home, I couldn't visit my family. So I decided I want to start my own business. But now thinking of business, and I'm sure there's a lot of business owners that listen to this, I never wanted a traditional business because to me, that meant I'm losing my freedom again. I can't just pack up and go. I don't want to have 400 employees. So I did some research, went on Google, tried to figure out how can I have a business that has freedom and everything else. And long story short, I figured out that I can become an online business owner, reach thousands of people from the comfort of my own home through a phone and a computer, and impact and share my knowledge and actually give back So I'm not just making money, I'm helping. And that to me is freedom and ethical way of making money.
I like that. I like the fact that you said a lot of people, when we are unhappy, or I don't know exactly how you phrased it, we wait and we just kind of don't make a move. We just sit there and fester until it becomes unbearable. But you were more proactive about that, so that's good. That sounds really great, and I'm sure people listening say, "Oh, that would be great. How do you do that?" And of course, a traditional business, which we do a lot of online anymore, but when we started, my husband and I, 30 years ago, there wasn't an online. So people would say, I wish I could have my own business. And we're like, oh, it's not always all it's cracked up to be. And of course, still has responsibilities. But how did you go about creating a business that would fit your lifestyle and your goals, helping people, like you said, but also earning money?
I think the biggest part for me was the hardest part was understanding that now I will have to learn how to use social media to actually promote myself and market myself. Because is it necessary? No. But if you want to do live events and stuff like that and networking in person, then again, I'm dependent on being in one location in order to market myself. So I chose social media, and I was worried. And I feel like a lot of your listeners are worried. Oh my God, I don't want to be an influencer. I don't want to be attached to my phone. I don't want to record. The exact same thoughts were going through my brain. But then I realized that marketing can actually take you an hour or two a week, which means that you're scrolling on your phone way longer than you would actually post something that will make you money. So if you're worried about that, please don't be. And what I did, and what I think is one of the hardest things for people, is figure out what is my zone of genius, what is my expertise, what can I teach? Even and I have business owners that have 15, 30 years of experience, and they're like, but I don't know what to teach. I'm just like it's funny and sad at the same time, because we never think of ourselves as an expert. And I would love to share with your listeners that you only have to be, and I'm not saying that that's the bare minimum that we're targeting, but for you to understand that you know enough, is you only need to be 10% ahead of someone else in order to be able to serve them 100%. And when that clicks, the world is your oyster. So you understand that that's the person you can help, and everybody that's all the way behind them. And in that moment, I realized oh my God, I have 17 years of experience. I can share so much and show people so much. But the first step was me actually creating a business and showing other people how to package their genius into what I call a $1 million course idea.
And you have a masterclass. You have a couple masterclasses you were going to share, and that's one of them, right?
Yes.
Figuring out your $1 million idea.
Yeah. And I think that's so important, because if you don't know what is actually going to sell and how to create it, and I can give you 3 very simple tips of how to actually get to that. Because people think, oh, what I'm passionate about, right? Or what is going to make me money? And this is the step number 1 that most people skip, and I call it a triangle. So in this triangle, I want you to either write down or pinpoint or put it on your phone. I don't care where it is. We have 3 things. 1 is, what are you passionate about? What is your passion? What is a topic that you can talk about for days, for years, you're absolutely obsessed with it? So that's one part of the triangle. Second part of the triangle is it solving some sort of a problem? So if you love talking about air, but there's no point of, discussing it, if you're passionate about something that's not solving a problem, it's going to be hard to make a business out of it. So something you're passionate about, is this something, that passion, solving some sort of problem, which it normally usually is? And then the third part is, are people willing to pay for this problem to be solved? So that's a very simple triangle of how
I love the P's. I'm all about alliteration. The 3 P's. Okay.
Profit, problem, and passion. I love it.
Yeah. So
that would
your
be
passion. What was the second one? What did you say? Problem,
profit
passion,
and problem.
and then pain.
Yes. Okay.
Pain. People
Perfect.
will pay. That's
Exactly. So
that's
simple.
wonderful.
3 Ps. That would be very simple. Now, inside of the masterclass, I actually gave you exact prompts from AI that can do market research for you. And I guide you through the whole process where you input your knowledge, your expertise. We go through the 3 Ps, all of that. But then based on that, it helps you define a course, gives you an outline, shows you how and how much you can charge. Is it on the market? Is it not? How to structure it. And again, I do want to say that is an outline. You will never take that as, the core offer. You're still the expert, not AI. Your lived experience is way more important. But it's a very good way to save yourself the time of like banging your head against the wall, being like, oh my God, like would anybody ever pay for this? In 15 minutes, you have a whole course, a whole $1 million idea that you can scale and then sell, promote, whatever that would be.
Well, it sounds like quite the tool. I did look through it. I didn't take it yet, but that's great. And I do. I like your 3 Ps. And of course, we talked a little bit about the moves. That is what in our Uncopyable system we call your ideal prospect. And that prospect has to see the value in what you offer. Yes, you have to be a fit, and they have to pay for what you're offering. So if you don't have those, then don't waste a lot of time on that particular idea or moose for sure. So let's talk about then how you have done this for yourself and for others as far as taking it to the next level.
Yeah, I would love to share that story because what normally happens with me and every business owner that starts online, you are stuck in this sea of information of do this and viral hooks and you have to get views and buy my course and $27 offer and ads. And you're just overwhelmed sitting there thinking like, what in the bloody hell? How will I ever do this? Who do I trust? And number one thing that they will make you believe is that there's this secret that they know that you don't. And all you have to do is pay them X amount and all your problems are going to go away. That's one. And that just isn't true. And step 2 is, the second thing is that they make you believe that you need millions of followers, hundreds of thousands of followers to make money online, which is absolute bollocks as well. Does it help? Yes, if you know what to do with those millions of followers. But to calm your listeners down, to get them fired up, I had a client who had 69 followers earning $10K a month. 69 followers. So it does not matter, especially with what I'm about to share with you and how we approach this. Now,
I'm all ears because, that's going to be music to our ears, actually, to hear that you don't need so many followers, because that's what it always feels like. You're trying to get more. But I'm guessing you're going to say the right followers are much more important than a million of the wrong followers. So let's see how well I am at predicting.
No, you're absolutely correct. And even we think of those people like massive influencers with millions of followers, you would be surprised how those people can't earn any money because people don't trust them. Because people like their photos, people like their lifestyle, they will get the likes and the views. So they have fans, not like a loyal, community, which is a big difference. So you don't want fans. You don't want like views and engagement because you're not promoting it to a brand that's going to pay you for views. You want to build a community. And how many times have you heard or your listeners, get out of the 200 view jail, right? Or like, it's just, you're stuck in low views or whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. Everybody's freaking out. And I want to ask you and your listeners this. If you walked into a room of 200 people, would you shit your pants? Because that's a lot of people. That's not that little people. Yeah. Especially for someone who has not like spoken on stages. If you walk in and there's 200 people listening to you,
seems like a lot.
You're like, damn, I'm a success. But because it's on social media, you think, oh, I just got 200 views. That's 200 people that are watching you every single day. So what I did was, when I started, what everybody does, I freaked out about views. I was focusing on going viral. I was promoting and posting and spending hours online. And I was getting $800 to $1,000 a month in, working 60-hour weeks. Like, I was like, why did I ever leave my job for this? Like, this is not what I wanted, right? And in the beginning, yes, it does take a little bit, right? You're not going to post once and your business is going to explode. But what I figured out, and which is the second masterclass that we'll also share, which is called Money Breakthrough. And we're going to go into these steps like way more in depth. But number one change that I did was I stopped selling low ticket. Because low ticket means that you have to work on volume, right? If we have a $97 product and you want to get 10K in a month, you have to sell 100 of those in 1 month, which is hard for a big influencer. And second thing with the low ticket is you don't have recurring revenue because it's not a subscription normally. It's like a one-time offer. So then you're starting your month on zero every single month. So you're just kind of like playing catch up, and that's very, very hard. So that's like number one thing that I changed. I went from selling low ticket to selling a high ticket. Now, high ticket could be one of my premium services is a 10K offer, one-on-one, in-depth. I work with the person for 6 months, completely transform their business, which for a new business owner could be a little scary. Like you're like, oh my God, I can't just put out a 10K offer. A high ticket offer could be a $250 a month subscription, right? It doesn't have to be this like, and that's still a good amount of money, which means that for $250 a month, you would need, I think, 20 people to hit 10K months, if I'm calculating that correctly.
I think that's about right. Yeah.
Yeah. So you need like, 4 times is 1,000. So you would need, 40 people to hit 10K months.
Okay. 40.
But this is, let's say we just have.
I didn't do well in my math classes, but okay. But yeah, you're right. So it's 250, a lot. Probably less intimidating to make that offer, but of course you still have to have the value for that. So, not to interrupt you, but, help us figure out how do we provide that value that makes them want to stay?
Exactly. That's a really good question because I never want to preach something of like, just charge high ticket and then, there's no value and all of that. That also what's going to make you not retain your clients. A lot of business coaches, a lot of online entrepreneurs focus on getting new people in. But what you don't realize that your current clients are your gold mine. And if you just continue nurturing them, they will want to grow and stay with you forever if you give them the option and continue providing results. And that's the beauty of a subscription. Now, what I want to mention here is if we're talking about subscription for, let's say, $250 a month, and let's say we give an actual example of, let's say, a fitness coach. A fitness coach, they could have an online subscription for $250 a month where they get personalized trainings. People get, and this is like where we add elements of one-on-one. This is why it's different. So let's think, normally a subscription is like a podcast, private podcast, or you're paying an app, or you're paying whatever it is in a subscription. Why I did it and designed it differently is because I offer a subscription to people, but they still get access to me one-on-one. That's why it is high ticket. Now, the difference here is, let's say fitness coach would have a subscription for $250 a month, but everybody gets the same thing. So you come in and it's a 90-day strong women reset, let's say, or a 6-month. People would be reluctant to pay $250 for that because it's not personalized. It's, or maybe I'll pay it once, but why would I continue staying in something where I just pay once and then I'm good to go? So what I did is, instead of having a 90-day strong woman reset with a fitness coach, is for $250 a month, you will get elements of one-on-one support with me. So I'm going to make a personalized workout plan. You're going to get a menu based on your macros. We're going to meet every month to chat about what exercises are fitting well, where do we need to up the weight. You have access to me in a chat, like whatever feels right for your business. We're going to tweak and intertwine your offer that is already pre-recorded or managed, or however you have packaged your knowledge. We're going to add elements of one-on-one support, which is brilliant because that's where people are like, oh, this is personalized to me. And I can stay. And this month we focus on upper body. And the next month we're going to focus on lower body. And then we're going to tweak my nutrition. So people stay and see results and support long-term instead of just coming to you for 90 days. And then you're like, good job. Okay, bye-bye. And they're going to find someone else.
So I do have a couple things. I'm back
Perfect.
to your comment you made a while ago that you only need to be 10% better than who you're teaching. I totally believe that, especially with AI, for example, and we're all into AI now, but a lot of busy business owners, entrepreneurs, salespeople, whatever, they don't have the time to spend time learning that. So if you stay ahead of the game, even enough to just help them, I think that's a really good point. We don't often acknowledge that, okay, we don't have to know everything to teach people. I do have a question on the $250 a month, for example. If you are including one-on-one time, depending on how much time you offer, I wouldn't think you could spend a lot of time for $250 a month, especially if you want to scale that. So how do you make them feel that they're getting that time without really spending, an hour on each person?
No, that's a really good question. So what I would suggest to this specific fitness coach that we're talking about, so we have a physical example, is that they do personalized. So let's say you jump in for 6 months for $250 a month. So what we will do is we're going to meet once on a call to start you off. We're going to go through your food, your habits, your timeline, where to fit a gym in. It's going to be like a strategic wellness session. I'm going to give it a fancy name because then people feel like it's a premium experience. So we'll meet once, then you get a chance to, in like 3 months, we'll redo your workout schedule and tweak it. And you get access to me in the chat for any questions. Now, why is chat good? Because a lot of times people won't just ask you questions. Like they just won't. And they have this VIP treatment where they can, but I have 40 clients now that can access to me one-on-one. It takes me 15 minutes a day to respond to their questions. Pick up the phone, I talk to it, I give them the value, they're good to go. And this is the part where then you can have different layers, right? So for $250, you get one call and access to me in a chat. For $500 a month, you get menu updated every 6 weeks and, workout plan tweaked every month and maybe one call per month. So then you can design different layers. What I would suggest here for business owners creating this is let's think of what your income goal is first. Because if your income goal is $50K a month, then a subscription for $250 is going to need to be a lot of volume. But if your goal is $10K a month, then that is very doable. So you can just kind of see how go to the end and then work backwards. But what this doesn't include is, let's say you want 10K months, but you don't want 40 clients, you can still add one-on-one clients in there because you have a subscription and then you just charge premium for like full-time support one-on-one, right? So you can balance it and add some one-on-one and some subscription and figure it out. But it just gives you like an example of like, is it scalable? Is it not? How can I tweak it? What should the price be?
That's interesting because I know I've been part of communities. I've actually run communities, and it is hard to get engagement where you say if someone just wants to ask you a quick question and get the personalized response from you, which of course you have the authority as the guru or whatever, you are the expert, that gives them the feeling of attention without having to manage a group. Again, we don't want to spend a ton of time with that. Do you use different ways to you chat? I mean, you just text, or do you have Slack, or how do you do that?
I used to be in Telegram and I really liked it, but it's recently been funky. A lot of people couldn't join. So I would say Slack is a really good alternative, but what I use is Kajabi. So I host my course and my community now both on Kajabi. It could still be on the phone. It gives automatic updates. It just is like nicely organized. My offers in there. So it's just a nice touch.
Good. Yeah, we actually use Kajabi too. So this is perfect.
I love Kajabi.
So you have some, I mean, this is really great and specific information, and we're coming toward the end of the recording. So you've given us great ideas on how to decide what kind of $1 million idea that you have, and then actually implement it through your 2 masterclasses. But then obviously you are in business to serve people for money. So what kinds of memberships do you offer, or subscriptions do you offer?
Yeah, so there's 3 tiers of how to work with me. Their first tier would be for $500 a month, where you get access to my Elevated Freedom Method. It's a 12-month program where you go in depth on all the 4 steps of how to not just get your body ready to hold all of that, and then creating everything, systems, setting it up, scaling, selling, promoting, all those skills. But there you can only ask me questions inside of the group, and you come on our coaching calls, group coaching calls. So you still get support from me, but it's not one-on-one. And you do not get calls every 90 days, let's say. Second tier would be $1,000 a month, where we meet every 90 days. We do a strategic 90-day business plan. And, I give you the set plan, what you should focus on, which we know in business, a 90-day sprint makes sense to focus on something for longer than a day. And you get access to me one-on-one, and we, can go back and forth. I offer done with you services where I help you tweak content. I can write some of it out for you, whatever that might be. And the last tier is for my premium people who are just ready to dive in and catapult their business in 6 months. And this is where we're in a partnership in your business. And I basically do things for you. We work one-on-one, we meet monthly, we talk every day. And, I basically just fast track your progress, basically.
Okay. And if people want to know more about all of those, what's the best way to do that?
The best and easiest way would be to find me on Instagram under SARAVEZ Coach, so Sara Vez Coach. I'm an open book, all my free resources, my website, everything's on there. So I think that's the best way to reach me, and just kind of look around, click around, see some of the results, see the experience and all of that.
Sara, thank you again I said Slovenia. I think you kind of said Slovenia. However it is, for coming to me across the world. I really appreciate it. All those links will be in the show notes. And thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I thought that was great. Thanks for listening to this episode of Uncopyable Women in Business. If you enjoyed it, please follow, rate, and review the show. And be sure to visit beuncopyable.com/K. Always remember, be uncopyable.